going on? Yeah, lately I've been thinking a lot about the subject of cloning, and I mean, and the odds and probabilities probably are right now that there probably is many cloned humans amongst us already. Um, how relevant is that? I'm not sure, but it's funny, uh, what it says that what is the image of God, but the firstborn of every creature. Some people say that's Christ, and it is the Lamb slain before the foundation of the earth. And the beginning was wrote, or the end was wrote from the beginning. So that does kind of fit. But I also kind of see that as kind of like when things were fresh and everything was anew, and it was all in order before the corruption through. For there's a few corruption events. One is the eating of the fruit from the tree, but next is when Cain killed Abel. It said thorns and thistles grew up. But then during all this as well, or after it, there's the fallen angels that come and they start to corrupt everything and genetically modify everything from the food to the animals to the people. Um, and you can go ahead and go study into all that if you wish. It's all out there. The information is out there. But the thing about it is, all right, the first soul, living soul that was created is Adam. But the animals and everything were already created. And it even said man was created. Then it says Adam was created. So it's potential that there was a population that didn't have the breath of God in them. You know what I'm saying? And likewise, Eve was taken from Adam and then genetically almost like it's almost like cloning, but different. It's more like being constructed from Adam's constructed from scratch, but God had to add his breath to make it a living soul. So therefore, some of that life force energy from Adam, from the rib that was used for genetics, like listen, if you go into a bone and you look in the middle of it, that's where your blood is created. So there's the marrow of your bones. It even says in the Bible that if the word is like marrow to thy bones. You know what I'm saying? So it's renewing. It refreshes. The bone marrow makes new blood, which circulates the things in your body. It keeps you alive, keeps you flowing, and it carries the breath from the air that goes into blood vessels and is carried back around to the brain, the heart, and the other parts of the body. But anyway, cloning. So, I mean, even God has the ability it's like cloning, but it's more like creating from scratch. Cloning's more like the rib situation, but it's taking, after many, many generations of the pure thing, now they're taking the genetics from them. And the difference is, all right, see, when natural birth happens, the male cell and the female cell, the egg and the sperm, whatever, the fertilizer and the egg, when the sperm breaks through the egg's wall, basically they're both like one's negative and one's positive, and there's like a small electrical discharge that it's probably like this. It's probably like one's got acid in it and one's got, like, you could just say baking soda or lemon juice, or one's got metal, one's made of something that's more like base, and when they hit, the chemical reaction creates a spark, but it's already in there. You know what I'm saying? It's already in there. And therefore, that breath of life from the beginning, the firstborn, the image of God, and we're created in the image of God. Adam was anyway. So from him passes down to us, or that same breath of life. And that's what it takes to become a living soul, is God's breath. That's what separates man from everything else, is because that certain connection is special. And when it comes to cloning now, see, they do almost the same thing, but to start the reaction, that where normally that spark comes through from the natural, they actually kind of like place the two things together. They like actually inject it. They inject what they want inside of the cell, inside of the egg, and then they shoot it with an external bolt of electricity at a certain rate. There's probably like a rate. I mean, I'm not an expert on this. I just was watching a few small videos, short videos about the subject, but they showed that much that that's actually how they start up a clone is they actually shoot it with electricity. And but when it's natural, the electricity is already contained within there, and we're not gonna find out if clones are sociopathic, psychopathic, or if they die, like they only make it 30 years old. We ain't gonna find out none of this stuff. They're not gonna release that to the public because they don't want us really to know about it, because the implications of it would be so freaked out, geeked out that it would cause a mass panic. Basically, I mean, even though they play with this subject on the X-Files like big time, in other movies, they've kind of joked around through sci-fi about the clone thing, like for a long time, and it is quite scary because in a way, you could think leaders. You have a leader; he's a real man. They come up, they send him a hooker, and then while he's sleeping, she takes a vial of blood. They go to the laboratory, and a year later, they have the clone, full-grown clone, and then they kill the real guy and then replace him with the clone. And they say a lot of people have been actually clone napped, which is the real man was, his DNA was extracted, he was dirt napped, or at least maybe taken away to a facility and fed to the Vril or whatnot, the underground reptilian Dracos. And the clone is replaced because the clone is more, it's been programmed, it's more subservient, it's been genetically altered and engineered to be subservient and kind of like compliant with, makes a lot of sense. It's kind of freaky. Are they trying to make alien hybrids? I mean, that's pretty possible. But if they're making alien hybrids, guess what? They've already perfected then human cloning. I guarantee it. And I'm pretty sure I seen, not sure, but I might have seen like ancient, like 1957 black and white footage of them cutting off dogs' heads, killing them basically, then pumping them full of blood, and then shocking their brain, and they'd come back to life. And they were actually called zombie dogs. But they weren't really like zombies. They would be more like a person who had a out of body. You know what I'm saying? Because I've heard of many people having out of bodies where they were in a life and death, and they got so weak that they actually, was like people say, astral projection, where people can just detach their spirit from their body and fly around and observe other people. Well, when people are in a near death, they do this sometimes too. So that gives some validity to the fact that people that claim to do this thing, maybe they really do. And I've heard enough life or near death experiences, and even having some close calls myself, and having some strangeness. But me personally, I haven't never experienced it.